Hello, how are all of you today? My name is Carrie Giletto, and I am one of Heartfelt Creations online educators. And we are going to kickstart this week creating something using the Wild Poppy collection that was just released last week. And so I'm going to go ahead and switch camera views and we will get right to it. Okay, so this is the card we're going to be making today. We're going to create these beautiful wild poppies, and then we're going to create this lovely, elegant frame for them to rest in, and we'll get right to it. Okay. So the first thing we're going to be doing today is stamping out our images. This is the Wild Poppy collection. I hope everyone's doing well today. It's been a wild morning here in Texas, but we are getting it all together. So here is the Wild Poppy collection. And we are going to be stamping out one of this with the two of these, and two of these. And some of you may have the Blazing Poppy from years ago where it was one big stamp that stamped out several sizes all at once. Well, this is same flower, but they have broken this up into smaller sections, so you have more flexibility on the size of flowers that you make and how many. And it's just giving crafters more flexibility. And they also came out with some dies that the previous collection did not have. So this is a great addition to the Blazing Poppy set. So that's what we're going to cut out. And of course, we'll be using the dies that go with it. Oh, I should also tell you, I'm sorry, we're going to stamp that out using the Tea Rose color. And then we're also going to be stamping out, this is the Wild Poppy Accents. And I need you to stamp out one of these and one of these. And you're going to be doing that in the olive green. Okay. So give me a comment there and let me know if you've received your Wild Poppy set. How are all of you today? Whoopsie, don't know what happened there. My name is Carrie. We're going to have to shut that down. Okay, there we go. Don't know what happened there. Okay, let's go ahead and start coloring our wild poppies. I clicked on the comment so that I could see your comments, and all of a sudden it started playing the video. So I apologize for that. I didn't know that would happen. Okay. All right, go ahead and get out your Tea Rose ink. And we're going to be using some of the triangle daubers. And we're also going to add in the sunflower ink and some of the carnation red. And what we're going to be working on right here is a technique of creating undertones. So if you're an artist and you've worked with paints and stuff, you will know that creating undertones, when our eyes see images, and I'm going to bring back our sample here that I made, but do you see that flower, how there's lots of different undertones and colors in that flower? So that's what we're going to do, because when our eyes see things, we see the undertones just naturally. I mean, we might look at it and just say that's orange or that's red, but really our eyes see a lot more color. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So we're going to start with the sunflower ink. And I want you to make a circle on each of the flowers. And go ahead and bring that yellow kind of up into the petal a little bit lightly. Next, we're going to come in with the carnation red. Okay, before my video went crazy there and started playing, I was asking if you would go ahead and let me know in the comments if you've already received your wild poppies and had a chance to play with these. So to create those undertones, we went ahead and applied some carnation red over the top of the yellow. And that's what's going to give us that variation. The next color we're going to take is the Tea Rose. And we're going to go ahead and bring out that color, just brushing it on to finish filling out that whole petal. Because we're not going to leave any white spots on this. We want it to be completely covered. There we go. So this is how your flowers are going to look at this point. And you're going to go ahead and do that same coloring technique to all of your flowers. Now, for our side pieces here, we're only going to be using the leaves and the stems for these. We're not going to be using the flowers or the buds on this particular card. So it's okay if we don't color those because we're not going to be needing those. So we're going to take the leaf green and the vivid chartreuse. Oops, let's start with the vivid chartreuse. Okay, and you're just going to put some of that on each of the leaves and run it up and down the stem here. Just a very quick coloring application. You're not going to see a lot of the stems or anything like that. And then we're going to take the leaf green and just out on the tips and down at the base of each of those. Is my camera shaking? I believe it is. I don't know. There we go. Go ahead and add some of the dark just down at the base of your leaf. There we go. All right, quick and easy. So go ahead and do this undertone technique to all of your flowers. Go ahead and clean up our inks here because we're done with those. There we go. And you're going to go ahead and take your dies and go ahead and die cut out all of your flowers. And then we're going to have this. Put that back there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab a little piece of cardboard because you can see where I stained my mat here. So I'm going to use a little piece of cardboard to do this next part. And we want to bring back our tea rose and our carnation red. And we're actually going to do some inking on the back side. These flowers are quite dimensional. And you can see on our sample card that from the side, you can definitely see those petals. So we're just going to quickly add a little carnation red in the center. And then we're going to come in and brush our tea rose. I think I accidentally used the wrong dauber and I got red on that one. But we're going to use the tea rose out here on the edges. Okay, so really this is how it should look. You should have your tea rose with the red in the center. Sometimes when that color gets on there, they look so similar. I accidentally grabbed the wrong one. Oh, don't close up your red yet because we're going to take that carnation red and we're going to go ahead and add the ink out on the edges. There we go. So if you look at this real closely, you can kind of see the undertones I was talking about. And once we get that all layered up, you're really going to notice those. All right, I think that takes us that. So the next part, one of my favorite things is the mold. I'm so excited that they came out with a mold for the poppies. The older set, the Blazing Poppies, did not have a mold. That was before they created the mold. So this is a wonderful addition to be able to shape your poppies. Now, this mold is very, very detailed. It's got lots of bumps and crevices in there. And for my purposes today, we're going to put it face up. So you're going to layer all of your flowers in here, do them face up. And then for one of the techniques that we're going to be doing, it's going to be helpful to have it be pretty damp. You don't want to get it soaking wet where it's going to tear, but you do want to spritz them a couple times so that they're good and malleable because we're really going to shape these leaves. So once you get them in there, layered up, face up, and spritzed, go ahead and run them through your machine. Now, once you run them through your machine, they're going to look like this. And like I said, that mold has a lot of shape to it, like little crevices. So often you're going to get these little tears, or not tears, just little spots in there that your ink has separated from. It's not actually torn. It's just like it's been shaped so much that your ink separates and you see the inner white paper. So I highly recommend with this particular mold that you choose the flower shaping paper that Heartfelt sells. When I used a less fibrous paper, I did get more tearing going on. So because this is bound to happen, I like to go back with just a little bit more of the tea rose and cover up those little spots. And maybe I'll go on with a little of the carnation red, but you just kind of lightly touch over those spots and that will cover up those whites, and it'll just look like part of the design that you wanted in the first place. So that's how I take care of those little white spots. All right. So is everybody just loving the wild poppies? So once we get our flowers to this point, I want you to go ahead and get out your deluxe flower shaping kit. And what we want to do is take these petals and really give them an asymmetrical shape to them. Again, I'm going to bring in my sample here to show you, but if you look closely at the flower petals themselves, I've tried really hard to make sure none of the petals really look alike, especially on this bigger one. Some of them are more crinkly, some of them are more flat, some are bent. The poppy flower, often you see them like in a whole field, or the petals look very uh, like they blow in the wind and they change shapes as they blow in the wind. So I like to make my poppies have a very asymmetrical look to their petals. So the way we do that, and I'm going to go ahead and spritz this one again because it's been a while since I ran that through the mold. But once you get it spritzed, you're going to take your stylus and we're really going to just press on it in different ways. You see that? And then once I get it pressed, I'm also going to take my fingers and give that more shape than maybe I would on some flowers. So once we kind of get it shaped up how we want it to be, and like I said, you just want to make each of the petals look very different. We're going to go ahead and add our glitter at this point. Some flowers, I wait until the very end to add my glitter, but on this flower, I found that I could do a better job if I added my glitter earlier on at this stage. So I'm going to go ahead and get out my glitter tray. I am going to be using the clear crystal glitter from Ranji. And this is a beautiful glitter. It's so chunky. It just looks gorgeous on the flowers. And I am going to be using the crystal lacquer. This gives you a nice shine underneath that glitter that I just like it better than with the glue. I like adding that extra shine underneath. So I will do that real quickly. And just, whoops, hold on one second. Here we go. Okay, that one was empty. Had to get a new bottle. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add my shine. I'm just going to very lightly add that onto each of the petals. And try to get down into all those shapes and crevices. And then I'm just going to pour on the glitter. You see through my arm there? Okay. Okay, now the crystal lacquer dries a little bit slower, dropping it all over the place, a little bit slower than the glue. So instead of going right into forming this and using the stamens, we're just going to go ahead and set this aside and let that dry for a few minutes. And while that dries, we are going to work on creating our beautiful frame. Okay. Now this card is an A7 card, and an A7 measures 5 by 7. And we're going to use 2 sheets of paper from the Wild Poppy paper pad. We're going to be using sheet 4A, which is this beautiful decorative paper with lots of color and poppies on it. And then we're going to use this paper that's a little bit more understated, but that's going to be sheet 10B. So from this piece, this corner down here, we're going to cut a 5x7 piece. And from that, I used this set, the Eyelet Rectangle Basics. And I used this largest die. Okay. Now from there, I went ahead and trimmed it down 1/4 inch. And then a sheet of Luxe Gold, I cut another one of these, and that was my frame. So I did put a sheet of gold underneath and then the decorative on top. And I did that using this die set. Okay, you can go ahead and glue those on. Now, to get the background of this gorgeous frame, I took 2 sheets of just regular black paper. And this is a little trick I like to do to give more sturdiness to my pieces. I go ahead and I add my glue like this and then fold it over. Go ahead and take my bone folder here and crease that. Now, and I did this twice to 2 different sheets of paper. I'm going to burnish that down a little bit with my fingers. And then today we are using, this is one of my favorite die sets. This is the Fancy Classic Oval Frame. And this is what we're going to be using to create our gorgeous frame. All right, this comes with many pieces inside, and I will show you how we're going to layer these up and die cut them to make our different pieces. So out of your 2 sheets of black that you have folded over and glued, you're going to use this piece to cut out 2 of these. Oops. And that's going to get you this solid piece. All right. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this piece of paper and you're going to take this die, and this die cuts out a centerpiece, but it also cuts out this teeny tiny little edge. So that teeny tiny little edge, we're not going to use out of this paper. What we want from this paper is this bigger centerpiece. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and cut that out of there. And that's going to give you this piece. Now that little tiny edge piece of this paper, you can go ahead and throw away. We're going to cut another one out of gold to be used on our card. Oops, let me turn this over. Okay, so go ahead. You'll have it like this, and you've probably, go ahead and cut yours out. And then I want you to center this on here. Then we're going to take this oval piece from our die set. And for this oval piece, I want to lay it here like this, but we don't want to cut anything yet. The next thing you're going to do, out of some gold, we're going to cut this piece. This is our beautiful decorative piece that adds that elegance. Go ahead and cut one of those. And then this piece that you just cut out of the cream paper, you're going to do that again. All right, so we're going to set it up like this. Whoops, and you know what? I need that oval real quick. And you're also going to take this oval piece and put it right here. So these 3 you can cut out all together. Make sure you have it taped really well so that goes through your machine without shifting. So just put a piece of washi tape or some of the, lightly tacked tape to hold that down as you put it through your machine. If you have a magnet pad, that would be good, but I wouldn't trust just that. I would still put your tape down so that it doesn't move. So once you get this cut out, you'll have 2 pieces. You'll have this piece and you'll have this piece. Now, the reason this gets a little bit tricky is because we want to line up our holes. To make our frame here, we need all the holes to line up right so that our edges are the same. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So you have your black pieces, you have your white piece. Go ahead and lay that down, and then go ahead and put this piece on so it's just right. Then for one of the layers, you can go ahead and lay this down, draw your circle, then you can lift it up and put it just where you want it. Then you can run this through your machine and you'll get this. Okay. Now, for your second black piece, now because this is going to be 4 layers deep at this point, I couldn't run it all through my machine at the same time. So I went ahead and took my second piece of black, laid this on top right where I wanted it, and then I took my pencil and traced the circle again. Then for my second piece, I could lay this on top, run it through right on my pencil mark that I had made, and then when it all came out, I have 2 dies that fit perfectly together. Now, one thing I noticed, even though I was very careful to keep it very straight, if I did it upside down, it didn't quite match up. So it matched up a little bit, but right there you could see a little of the black. So it did make a difference, and to mark, so I did mark this one top. But I thought that was interesting. But so that might be something that you have to watch out for to keep it lined up just perfectly. So now that we're at this point, we're just going to go ahead and glue our 2 frames together. Well, that's my wrong glue bottle. Okay, here we go. This one's working. So has summer arrived where y'all are from? In Texas, it is summer. It's been in the high 90s every day this week. And that has been fun. But I actually heard that it had snowed in other areas of the country recently. So that just always blows my mind how different it can be from one place to another. I mean, you would think it would be at least getting warm, but not snow when it's 90 here. Okay, so now that you have these 2 glued together, we're going to take this teeny tiny gold piece and now we can glue it down. If you glue this on first, you run the risk of making this fit your edge, not fit the hole. So I found it was best to do it in this order. To do this little piece, I have to put my glasses on. There we go. All right, now I don't add a lot of glue, just a little bit. Because this is the gold, I try to add just a little bit so that I don't get it oozing out. I don't want little oozing onto my gold piece. There we go. There we go. And then you can just fit that around your other piece. This piece can be a tad tricky to get in place, but that's why I like to do it last so that you can really just push it up against that other piece and get your shape on there. There we go. And that's how you do it. And now we're going to add our last. And again, I marked it which side was the top because I found that there was a little bit of variation in my hole, this hole, if I did it the other way. And again, just adding a little bit of glue there. I don't want to get it too wet. Yeah, okay. And then you want to line that up to the hole as best you can. And if it's all worked perfectly, it should fit very well on there. Now, if you do have some gaps, which you might, whoops, that's not my mistake. If you do have some gaps, I would leave my gaps down here because we'll be able to kind of cover that up with our leaves when we get going. So our flowers are going to cover that up a bit. So I had a little bit of glue on my finger. So after being so careful, then I got a little bit of glue on it. So I'm just going to wipe that off real quickly. Alrighty there. Okay, there we go. All right, if you do ever get glue on your gold, before it has a chance to dry, if you use a little wet wipe, you can wipe that off. If it does end up drying, there is a product called Goo Be Gone or Undo, and those will also take off that glue for you. All right, now on my card, I really wanted to get a lot of lift going on because these are a big, beautiful flower, and I wanted I wanted to just have a lot of lift between that frame and the card. So I doubled up my foam tape on the back. So hopefully you can see right here, see it's doubled, where there it's still single. So I'm gonna go ahead and double up these others. And I'm just using some black foam strips. Any foam that you have, it doesn't have to be black. You can use whatever foam that you have in your craft room. There are so many great foams out there. Now, Heartfelt sells some fantastic round foam dots that are very thick, and I love using those. I didn't have enough of those to go all the way around my frame, so that's why I'm using this today. They also sell the thin foam, which is fantastic for so many projects, but this one, I thought I'd have to use so much of it, and I didn't want to waste it because I love having that on hand for smaller areas. There we go. So I've just doubled this up. I need one more little piece here. There we go. All right, so now that's doubled up, and there is our beautiful, elegant frame. I love that black and gold together with that pretty cream piece. So we have our A7 card here, the 5x7 with our pretty gold, and we're just going to go ahead and attach our frame. Okay. Oops, I'm going to do it this way. Oops, I did. I turned around my top and bottom. Okay, there we go. So just try to get that centered on there. And there we go. Now we have a beautiful place to place our poppies. So like I said before, when we made these pieces, we're not going to be using the flowers. So you can see here where I have already snipped off the 2 flower places that were on this die. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this right in here. Now, if you bought the I Want It All, you got some of these brand new easy stem floral wires. These are fantastic. If you didn't get the I Want It All, I highly recommend picking up a packet of these because this would be a great place. I think I have this one open. Whoops. This would be a great frame to be able to tuck this down in there and have your wires coming out. Now, when I made this card, I didn't have my wires yet, so I went ahead and used the dies. But if you have some easy wire, that would be a fantastic place to use it right here. I am looking forward on a future project to putting that wire to good use. I'm very excited to use it. So I am going to go ahead and give my leaves some lift here. Not a lot, just a little bit on my leaves. Let's get my hair in it. There we go. Just a little bit of glue on the back here to hold my stem down. Now for this one, I am going to go ahead and snip off. Didn't I get it? Snip off this little bud. And I'll save him for later. I'm going to snip off this pretty curly Q right there because we're not going to use that. And I'm going to cut this one. Okay. We really just want to get those leaves and stems going on. Okay. There we go. So from here, I'm just going to put him in there like this. I think There we go. I'm going to tuck him right under here like this. Pop him right in there. Whoop. I'm knocking things over all over the place over here. Gotta get that glue gun turned on. There we go. All right. Okay, again, we're going to add just a little bit of foam onto the back of our, because we double foamed this one, I'm popping up my leaves because they would have to sit really far down in there if I didn't add at least one layer of foam onto the back of them. Add a little bit of glue here. I'm looking forward to finishing up our poppies. There we go. All right, now we're done with this for now. We can set this aside and we're going to finish up with our poppies. Okay, so we have our 2 layers here that are glittered up and ready to go. So let's take our golf tool and we're going to pop some centers into here. There we go. And today we're going to be using 2 sets of stamens. I love adding stamens to flowers. Did you see the neat trick that Emma Lou demoed in her live with the wild poppies where you stamp one in green and cut out the center and put a little black frills around it? That was a really cool method to get that traditional poppy look. But I thought it would be fun to use some stamens on these. So we're using the rose hip stamens in large. And we're going to be using, oops, wrong one. We're going to be using a gold piece. So we're going to use 1 gold. You'll end up using 3, but you use 1 gold. And then get just a few here. Whoops. Whoops. I had some glue on my finger and it just stuck. We're going to use the rock candy small. And I'll show you how I did this neat little trick. So go ahead and group your rock candies together first. And I used probably 6 or 7 for this large flower. I never use less than 6. I thought that to really get that to look nice, I wanted quite a few going around. So I grouped them together like this. Then I take my rose hip one and I twist it around right in the middle. You see that? I'm going to try to show you a better view here once I get it down in the right place. There we go. Okay. So once you get that wrapped around there, this is going to kind of make it better for when it's in your flower, keeping that centered around your gold piece. Okay. And there we go. Okay. So another thing this does is that gives you a wire to easily put through your piece there. And before I pull it down, I'm going to add just a little bit of hot glue. And then I'm just going to pull it through. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and pull it through this one. Same method. A little bit of hot glue in there and pull that on through. And there we've got our poppy. I'm just going to hold that a second and let that glue sit. There we go. All right. Now you may have to shape these up a little bit to get them on either side of the gold. But by doing that trick at the beginning, it kind of helps position the black ones on either side. I've got one here that just doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. Okay, there we go. Do you notice all that undertone that we have in there with the yellow and the carnation red? Love that. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and pop off that stem. And I don't know how I did this, but I have ended up with glue all over my fingers. It's sticking to everything. Okay, let's go ahead and bring back our card base here. And I've got some other flowers that I made up, and we're going to go ahead and attach our flowers. Hold that just a few seconds to get a good hold. This one right here. I love the colors of the poppies. So often we use pinks and purples and blues and other colors. I thought it was really fun to just work with an orange. It's been a while since I had worked with orange. So I'm leaving a little space right here because I know I'm going to be putting my sentiment right there. Sometimes I create a whole card and then I have to figure out where I'm going to put my sentiment because I didn't think ahead. So it's good to kind of plan out where you're going to put that sentiment so you're sure that you have space for it. This one's went. There we go. All right. Now for our sentiment for this card, I went to one of my go-to, and I have it here somewhere. My go-to sentiment sets. You know that I love all these sentiment sets. Today I used the cheerful note, and I went with this one that says "Remembering with You." Poppies always kind of remind me of Veterans Day, so I thought this would be a very nice card to have on hand to send to someone that has lost someone during wartime, or really any kind of sympathy card. Or you could definitely choose a different sentiment and use this for an any occasion card. So I went ahead and used my favorite die, which I've shown many times from the arrows and banners set, and I cut a little banner here. And to do that, I'm just going to use my little trick there of using my fingers to put some shape into that to give it a nice S shape. You see that? I just press down with this thumb and pull up with this finger. And I do that at the same time, and that gives that beautiful shape. Then on this one end, I'm going to go back to my foam again. Just cut a little piece to put right here on this end. And I'm also going to take a little piece and put it right there on that curve that curves downward. Whoops, there we go. You see that? I've the little papers, everything's sticking to the glue on my hand. All right. Now we're just going to tuck our sentiment right in here. Okay. All right. So there we have our beautiful, elegantly framed poppy card. Now, before I switch back to the other view, I just want to show you real quickly how I would go about mailing these cards. I have several people asking questions about that, but I'm going to do it very quickly. So this is one of the clear plastic boxes that you can purchase through Heartfelt, and I will provide a link for those. So you'll just want to assemble the box. You just pop the sides together and place your card inside. And go ahead and close it up. Now I would take a piece of clear packing tape and put right here on this edge and right here on this edge. Then I took some wrapping paper, but instead of the wrapping paper being the decorative side on the outside, I just wrapped up my box with the inside side of wrapping paper. and put a little label on it. And you can go ahead and fill out your person's address, put your return address. I go ahead, you can use multiple stamps or you can use like a shipping software to make yourself a label, but this will go through the mail just fine and arrive safely. So that's one way to go about mailing your beautiful dimensional cards. All right. Well, I hope you've enjoyed making our lovely, elegant, wild poppy card today. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the other view. There we go. Okay. Well, I hope you had fun today. I do want to remind you for the wild poppies, you can still go over to the website and take a look at the creative essentials. They're still bundled together where you can get a savings on that, as well as you can purchase all the pieces individually. Now, if you do want to get some savings on those pieces, you can always take a look at the Insider member ship that comes with lots of different discounts that you can look at. We'll provide a link for you down here underneath. So I hope everybody has a fantastic week this week, and I look forward to crafting with you again soon. Have a lovely, lovely day. Thank you so much.